The Trump endorsed, not just endorsed, but strongly supported by Trump, North Carolina Republican gubernatorial candidate Mark Robinson scandal has taken a turn for the worst, as if it could get any worse. And the fallout is what I want to break down for you. I'll give you the context if you missed it in a second here, but Brian Tyler Cohen said, wow, Mark Robinson's campaign manager, deputy campaign manager, finance director, and senior advisor have all stepped down. Robinson's campaign is in free fall. If you missed this story, oh no for you, because I'm about to really quickly summarize it for you. But first, remember what Trump has said about this man.
He's been an unbelievable Lieutenant Governor, Mark Robinson. This is Martin Luther King on steroids. Okay, now, I told that to Mark. I said, I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are.
And the defense from MAGA is, well, he didn't know the things in the bombshell CNN story when he said that. True. He did know, though, all of the character traits that would lead to such a story being possible. And we've seen in one story or clip or remark by Mark Robinson after another the low character he has, the disgusting things he said long before Trump said all of this. So save it, MAGA. Before getting to how this could impact the election, we touched on it already. If you missed the story, this bombshell CNN piece came out about the Republican nominee for governor in North Carolina, who was already trailing Josh Stein, the Democratic nominee and current Attorney General of North Carolina, in the polls pretty significantly. Now it's essentially a lost race for Robinson, given a story that documented messages he sent in a porn forum. So he was chatting it up with other porn users, and for some reason he took that as the opportunity to say things that should cause any person to drop out of a race like this, but he's saying he's staying in the race. And that included things, but not limited to, him describing himself as a black Nazi, him wishing for slavery to come back so he could have some of his own. He's black. And then him talking about how when he was 14, he went into a locker room and looked in on the female showers. And then if you are just really wanting to cringe and feel gross, there are online transcripts that would be far too inappropriate for me to read on this show, but about the things that he's into and the involvement of urine and the different scents that he likes to, you get the point. So those are out there. But most notably, I would say, is him expressing this vile Nazi-like stance and also breaking the law with looking at people while they're showering. So we'll be right back to the video. Just really quickly, if you're not already, I would appreciate you clicking that subscribe button. We are really close to 1 million subscribers. You can help us get there. Easy, free way. And then we do have merch at lukebeasleymerch.com with Harris as a promo code. You can get free shipping. Super cool election-themed merch. Check it out. Back to the video. With that being said, I probably missed things, but we did a whole segment on it before. Here is Harry Inton on CNN breaking down the importance of North Carolina in the election and how him being a drag on the Republican turnout could genuinely flip this entire national election to Kamala Harris.
All right, the stunning K-File report about the message board postings from this man, North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, the Republican nominee for governor, on a porn messaging board, has really rocked the political world this morning. The key question: what impact will this have on the presidential race? North Carolina, a very important state. Well, there's one man who can answer that question. Senior data reporter Harry Enton. Let's talk about the potential impact of this.
Yeah, all right. So let's just take a look at where we are in the polls in North Carolina. Look, It's as close as you can be in the presidential race. It is a tie right at this particular hour. In the governor's race, even before this scandal rocked everything, the Democrat Stein was ahead by 10 points. So the bottom line was, look, Mark Robinson was very likely to lose this race even before the scandal. Now he's more likely to lose this race. So let's talk about the tie in North Carolina and the importance of that state in this election. All right, so this is the chance of winning the election if you win North Carolina. The bottom line is this. If Kamala Harris wins in the great state of North Carolina, she's got a 95% chance of winning the election. There are many maps in which she can win the election without North Carolina. That's less so for Donald Trump because he has only a 77% chance of winning the election if he wins in North Carolina. So the bottom line is must-win state much more for Donald Trump than it is for Kamala Harris.
This is according to Nate Silver on his Silver Bullet messaging board. He talks about the importance of every state, what state would be a tipping point here. Obviously for Harris, if she wins that, likely to win. Trump a little less so, but still pretty important to both.
Still pretty gosh darn important to both. And, you know, when we talk about this story and how much of an impact it could potentially have, look, this is an immediate measure. Google searches for Mark Robinson through the roof since the K-File story came out. Look at this, up over 8,000% nationally, and even in the great state of North Carolina where they were searching for him more than they were nationally, it's up nearly 4,000%. So the bottom line is this is a scandal that could definitely have a big potential for impact in a very important state in the presidential election, John.
Interesting this is less, though, because they know the idea would be they already know what's going on down there.
They were already searching for him. Not big surprise. People in North Carolina were more interested in that gubernatorial race before this scandal than folks nationally. But now the folks nationally are certainly interested, and that's part of the reason why we're talking this morning about it.
Harriet and Greg.
Yeah. You know, just what MAGA. Why is this such a common occurrence? A good example of this is it would be difficult to find someone as publicly anti-trans and anti-LGBTQ as Mark Robinson, describing LGBTQ Americans as filth, and that among so many other rants, sort of an obsession of his. Oh, and then we find out that in his porn chats, he talks about how much he likes transgender porn. Which, without the context of who he is, okay. But you include the context, and it's that hypocrisy again. And there's always, I want to come back to this, in your life, you can hold this truth, because I think it time and time again manifests, where someone who just is constantly spewing hatred like Mark Robinson has, it's because something's messed up inside. You can have aggressive policy stances. You can oppose, as I do, an ideology like MAGA. Or if you're a conservative, you can oppose certain left-wing ideologies. You can do all that without this sort of Marjorie Taylor Greene and Mark Robinson way of dehumanizing, and obviously Trump, and hating so much. And when that's the case with someone, you have to think it's not about the people they're hating, it's about them. And maybe you'll never find out what that exactly means. In the Mark Robinson case, we've gotten some insight, unfortunately, about what that means. And then you have this party of family values stuff, wanting to use their moral authority to govern the morality of others and to judge people, and using their differences of opinions on a preferred lifestyle to demonize people and fearmonger about them, and then they don't abide by the principles that they espouse. Like, a lot of the stuff I was quickly scanning over to see if there's anything notable for the show in terms of the stuff he was talking about on these porn forums, I don't think would align with the Christian family values they pretend to stand for. Also, can I say, well, I'm not trying to judge anyone out there who just, it's a huge hobby of theirs to chat in porn forums, but why is that where you're getting sort of a social community? It's just kind of, you're going to talk with other people about that. Okay, I don't know. I guess if you're not calling yourself Black Nazi, just have fun, but stay safe. Here is, just don't go meet up with anyone you meet there. It's probably my advice. You might die. Here's Mark Robinson, what I played for you earlier saying, I'm not getting out of this race. Fake news.
Hey guys, Lieutenant Governor Robinson and your Republican nominee for governor as well, of course. Well, guys, the news media is at it again. My opponent is at it again. You all have seen the half-truths and outright lies of Josh Stein on these ads over and over again. And now a story leaked by him to CNN is appearing now. Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson. You know my words, you know my character, and you know that I have been completely transparent in this race and before. Folks, this race right now, our opponents are desperate to shift the focus here from the substantive issues and focus on what you are concerned with to salacious tabloid trash. We cannot allow that to happen. And folks, we've seen this type of stuff in the past as well. Clarence Thomas famously once said he was the victim of a high-tech lynching. Well, it looks like Mark Robinson is too, by a man who refuses to stand on stage and debate me about the real issues that face you. Instead, they want to focus on salacious tabloid lies. We're not going to let them do that. We are staying in this race. We are in it to win it. And we know that with your help, we will. God bless you. And we will see you where? On the campaign trail.
Mark, what a disaster. Tabloid lies. This is so upsetting. Gosh, it's so upsetting. He described himself as a victim of high-tech lynching. Think about the history and the pain and the suffering that comes along with the term lynching. And he casually throws that around to describe people because he's not thoughtful enough, I'll say. He didn't go through his due diligence enough, at the very least, to not use the same email and username that he uses for everything for this forum. Mark, it's not that high tech, okay? We're just a couple steps away from mail, and you're calling it a high tech lynching. That's on you. And also, you described yourself as a black Nazi. You did. You. And you talked about wanting slavery to come back. How about you hold the usage of such a term as lynching? Here's Robinson's opponent on with Jake Tapper.
Attorney General Stein, so obviously on this online pornography message board, Robinson posted profane, racist, sexually explicit content. He called himself a black Nazi. He expressed support for slavery. He talked about peeping on women in the showers when he was a teenager. It goes on. That's just the stuff, by the way, I can say on TV. Robinson has denied the post, saying, quote, "These are not our words, and this is not anything that is characteristic of me," unquote. Do you believe his denial?
I don't. If you look at what he said on the post, it was in keeping on what he has said publicly on Facebook that are still on his Facebook page.
Thank you.
Mark Robinson is absolutely unfit to be the governor of North Carolina. And that was true before your story broke last Thursday. The story has only served to underline and put an exclamation point on that fact. I mean, he embraced Hitler. He compliments Hitler. He says he's a Nazi. He buys little toy SS soldiers. I mean, he says slavery, he wants to bring it back. Things that defy comprehension. But those only are in keeping with what he has said throughout his entire public life. He says women are not called to lead and they have abortions because they cannot keep their skirts down. He says that gay people are filth and even more vile insults than that. Teachers are wicked people. From a church pulpit this summer, he yelled, "Some folks need killing." This man is utterly unqualified, unfit to be the governor of North Carolina, and we're going to do everything in our power to keep that from happening.
Absolutely perfectly said. And I think Stein will be successful. Did you hear Jake Tapper reading Mark Robinson's quote? "These are not our words." Let me see if I heard this correctly.
This is the stuff, by the way, I can say on TV. Robinson has denied the post, saying, quote, "These are not our words, and this is not anything that is characteristic of me, unquote.
Ah, what an interesting way to deny that, Mark. These are not our words. These are not the words of our movement. These do not define and characterize Mark Robinson. I said them, hell yeah, but they're not our words, right? They're my words. But they're not our words as a movement. They don't represent what that's exactly what I stand for, but not us, we, in unison. You're right, that's not what we stand for, which is why we aren't going to, I don't live in North Carolina, but hopefully those that do aren't going to let him become governor. Why does Trump choose too often to be the most complimentary of the worst people? Let me know the answer in the comments. Support the show by clicking the join button below.